Okay, so yesterday we focused on the Pythagorean Theorem. Today we're going to do it again, just get more practice and get better at using the formula. First things first, let's go over the parts of a right triangle. So on a right triangle, how I know it is a right triangle is it makes a capital L, this right angle right here, this 90 degrees. This capital L, or your 90 degrees, is the two sides that make up your legs, okay? So this is leg A, this is leg B, or this is leg B, this is leg A. It doesn't matter which one's which. It just matters that you know that these are both legs. The longest side of the right triangle, the one that's across from the right angle, is known as your hypotenuse. Okay, this is labeled your C side. And this one's always going to be C. It doesn't mix up with the legs, okay? So our formula that we practiced yesterday is A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? And we practiced using this formula and how to find the missing side. So if we look at number 1, okay? First things first is look for your capital L. So here's my capital L. Remember, the capital L makes up your legs. So since both these two sides are there, that means the side that is missing is my hypotenuse, the C. So if I use my formula, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A and B are my legs, but it doesn't matter which one's which, as long as you know that these are both A and B. So if I want to put 7 squared first plus 24 squared, all I did was replace A and B with 7 and 24. Equals C squared, which I don't know. So to find C squared, we're going to clean this side up. So I just type it in. 7 squared plus 24 squared is 625. Now, a lot of people think that that's my answer, but I haven't finished yet because I need to find what C is by itself. Well, the opposite of squaring it is to take the square root. So the square root of 625, my actual answer is 25. That's how long C is. That's the missing side. So let's practice that some more. If I look at number 2, look for your capital L. Sometimes it's upside down. Okay. Now I see that the capital L has 16 and 12. That means these are my legs. This is A, this is B. Or this is A, this is B. It doesn't matter which one. All I know, though, is that this is C, and C is the hypotenuse, which is missing. So if I use my formula, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A and B are 16 and 12. Doesn't matter which one I put where. So let's say I put 16 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. So if I clean this side up, 16 squared plus 12 squared is 400 equals C squared. Now right here, I'm not quite done because I need to get C by itself. To get C by itself, we're going to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 400, and my final answer is 20. And that is how long C is, the hypotenuse. Let's change it up a little. If I look at number 3, and I look for my capital L, there is my capital L. But notice, I'm missing one of my sides of my capital L. So that means I'm missing one of the legs. If I'm missing one of the legs, that means this, 17, is C. That's my hypotenuse. So let's see how this works. If I do A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay, I'm missing one of my legs. So I know I'm missing A or B. It does not matter which one. I can put 15 where A is, or I can put 15 where B is. Just know that I don't have the other one. So let's say I put it with A. I don't know B, so I'm just going to bring down plus B squared equals, and I know C is 17 squared, okay? Let's clean this up a little. 15 squared is 225. I don't know B, so plus B squared, and 17 squared is 289. Now this one's a little different than what we saw in 1 and 2, because this time I'm missing a leg. So when I'm missing a leg, I need to subtract 225 to both sides. So 289 minus 225 is 64. Now a lot of people think that 64 is my answer, but just like the one before, I have to take the square root of 64 to actually find how long the side is. So B is actually 8, and that's my answer. Let's try that again. So number 4, this time I look for my capital L, and my capital L is right there. And notice both numbers are there. So these are my legs, which means my hypotenuse is missing. So if I do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, I know a and b are 20 and 21. It does not matter where I put either one. All I know is that c is missing. So if I look at the left side, 20 squared plus 21 squared is 841 equals c squared. To get c by itself, I'm going to take the square root. So the square root of 841 is 29. So C, my answer is 29. Look at number 5. If I look for my capital L, notice that one of my legs is missing. So that means 13 must be C and 12 is the other leg. So we can label it A if we want. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So A, we're going to replace with 12 squared plus B squared equals C, which is 13 squared. So we're going to clean this up. 12 squared is 144 plus B squared is 13 squared is 169. So to get B by itself, we're going to subtract 144. So 169 minus 144 is 25. But 25 is not my answer because to get B by itself, we need to take the square root of 25. So the square root of 25 is 5. And that is my final answer. That's how long the last side is. So let's try number 6. Here's my capital L. Okay. Notice that I'm missing one of the sides of the L. So that means 74 is C. So if I do A squared plus B squared equals C squared, it doesn't matter where I put 70. If I put it with A or B, it doesn't matter. Let's try putting it with B this time. So A squared plus 70 squared equals 74 squared. If I clean this up, I don't know what A squared is, but 70 squared is 4,900. And 74 squared is 5,476. So then I'm going to subtract 4,900. And A squared equals 5476 minus 4900 is 576. Now, not quite my answer because I got to take the square root. The square root of 576 is 24. So my final answer, that last side of the right triangle, is 24. 2 more. So here's my capital L. Okay. Notice I'm missing one of the sides of the L. So that means I'm missing a leg, which means 65 is the hypotenuse. So we're going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I know one of the legs, so it doesn't matter if I put 56 with A or if I put 56 with B. It's up to you. If I put it with A, that means I don't know what B is. But C is 65 squared. So if I clean this up, 56 squared is 3,136 plus B squared is 65 squared, which is 4,225. I'm going to get B by itself, I'm going to subtract the 3,136, which is 1,089. Now this is not quite my answer because my final step is to take the square root of 1089. So my final answer, that side for B, is 33. Let's do one last one. So look for that capital L. This time I see both sides of that capital L. So that means the side missing is C. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Since I know that these two sides are the legs, it doesn't matter if I put 45 for A, 28 for B, or 45 for B, 28 for A. So let's just do 28 squared plus 45 squared equals whatever C is, which I don't know. I'm going to clean up this left side. So I have 2,809 equals C squared. Now this is not quite my answer because I got to take the square root of that. The square root of 2,809 is a whopping 53. Okay, so let me explain the difference. Okay, because the process is the same, it's just one has one extra step. So when I am missing a when I am missing the hypotenuse, which means that long side, then there's no subtraction to worry about. I just take care of one side and take the square root. But when I'm missing a leg, that's the tougher one, is when I'm missing one of the legs, I have to do an extra step by subtracting and then take the square root. So there is a little bit of a difference.